Okay, so I'm here for 5 minutes, so this is going to be rapid fire. And I'm here to ultimately talk about the use or the benefit of the programs that are offered through the Alliance. But ultimately, it is about getting science off the shelf that we've already heard so many times today. I'm going to relay information on one particular project that's ongoing and just kind of give a little bit of background how I kind of frame all of my research and how KTT is such an important aspect. So if you're not familiar with the project, it is a fairly large project that is ongoing, but the central research question is, what are the experiences of residents from rural and small communities related to the ongoing COVID-19 pandemic? The thing you want to grab there right away is residents, small, rural. This is not a monolith. This is a huge group of people. So when you're trying to get results back to these different groups, these different organizations, you have to keep that in mind. A pilot study was completed back in the fall of 2020 across Perth and Huron counties, and data was acquired using a quantitative survey. In the case of St. Mary's and Huron County, a physical survey was mailed to every single residence, and then across both counties, there was digital access as well. In total, about 3,500, just under 3,600 surveys were completed, so it's quite a massive amount of data. And the topics vary, but centrally they are on individual well-being using the Canadian Index of Well-being, on economic development to try to provide some data to ECDev departments or various development organizations or groups. There's another section all on mental health. So huge questions around anxiety and coping mechanisms. And then a final section on what are we doing about it? Planning and prep, trying to inform policies and programs moving forward. And so that's the type of data that I gathered, and it is quite a bit of data, but I was faced with this issue of how do you get it out? So what I did was, the first thing you always want to ask is, who's your target? And I imagine Andrew did touch on this in his presentation, but if you don't consider who the target is, then you're not going to get it right. You have to ensure that however you do choose to get the information out, it's appropriate and digestible for whoever the targeted audience is. For the project that I'm involved in, one of the target audience was OMAFRA, or that level of policy and program developers, county level governments, lower tier municipalities, and then also those individual residents. Super crucial that the data gets back to the people who participate. I think everyone that's going to speak today would say the same thing. A huge component of a successful project is getting that data back out there. Don't just leaving it on your shelf or in a peer-reviewed journal article. So you have to ask yourself what's appropriate and what's effective. So for me, the first thing I did was I published a series of reports. These were shared in PDF form with my biggest community partner, which was the United Way. These are relatively digestible, but a little bit thicker reports. They're about 12 pages, and they provide an overview. They are standardized format to have some consistency. They were published every 2-3 months, trying to bring attention to the project and shared across a network of over 600 organizations. I also did a series of infographics, and I know that Andrew said, or there was a comment about you have to be careful about your data. I don't want to be disrespectful here, but I think that's incorrect. People love data. It's just about ensuring that you present it in a clear and digestible way. The thing about data in numbers is that it is the universal language. So people understand percentages, they understand pie charts, and it's just about figuring out how to get it out there. So we worked with a graphic designer to ensure that things were digestible, easily shareable on social media and so forth. So these were also shared widely across the networks. And then the oral side. I've given over 35 presentations and interviews already. I do them all of the time. And these are just a list of some of the different audiences. So on the left, you've got things like the Rural Ontario Institute, county level governments. I gave a talk that was sponsored by the UN, Habitat, various professional organizations. And then I'm hitting national, local, regional TV, radio, a podcast. I gave a talk to a first-year undergraduate class here at the university. Ontario health teams, the stage, all of these different ideas to try to get the data out in a number of different ways, in different formats, different lengths, different audiences, because like I said, you have to ensure that whatever you're doing is digestible and appropriate. What I'm doing now is the project's been expanded, so we have now over 23,000 completed surveys. So I am one of these people that are applying for or about to apply for funds from the Alliance to support KTT activities. There's 7 more counties that are participating. And what I'm going to do is take a 3-pronged approach using digital, paper, and person Digital, it's that social media side to make sure that, as Andrew said, you coordinate your efforts to get it on as many different stations as possible, as many different mediums. But digital is so targeted and short and quick and easy to digest, and you're trying to get an audience there. Paper, poster boards, different reports, getting them to a different audience, and then person, conferences, things like this, making sure you present a face. The key question at all times is, what is the best way to get information back to the target audience? It's not a one size fits all. You have to make sure you're covering your bases. If you don't have that skill set, find someone that does. That's my 5 minutes. Thank you very much.